Hey everyone, Sophia here for my great challenge. Guess what? This is day 28 in my 30 bags in 30 days declutter challenge. This girl just came back from work. I have to change and finish the attic. I'll see you in a second. So we're back in the master bedroom, armed with my faithful cup of tea. And I just want to show you something that's going to make you scream. For those of you who thought I did a good job with the books, this is what I just got in the mail today, and I just want to spend like 2 seconds talking about it. This is the French lesson by Hallie Rubenhold. The first book, this is number 2, the first book was called Mistress of My Fate. I'll put the link down below. And it was by far the best book I read in the last 2 years. I absolutely loved it. Just to give you in a nutshell, this is the story of a woman who was kind of adopted during pre-French Revolution times, okay, in England. And she ends up being booted out of the home for various reasons. I'm not going to tell you why, because otherwise it's kind of a spoiler. And she ends up having to survive on her own in London in the 1760s, 1770s, okay? So she ends up being kind of like a concubine / prostitute and also a gambler, and ends up being protected by some older guy who she can't stand, but she marries him. So anyway, there's a love story in there that's on the side. It was absolutely wonderful, and I couldn't wait to get part 2. Hallie Rubenhold took forever to write part 2. And it was supposed to come out last year in February. It didn't. And then I found out it was coming out in April, end of April, beginning of May in England. I have no idea when it's coming out here in the US. But when I found out it was coming out in England, finally, what I did was pre-order it through Amazon.uk, and I got it today. And to be honest, what I want to do right now is drop everything, including dinner, and start reading it. So yeah, and no, I am not getting rid of a book from the to-be-read pile. This is going straight to my nightstand because this is next, coming up next. So I'm trying to find the right lighting here, and I'm really not finding anything that's decent. It's 6:40. I really gotta rush because this is one of those nights where I'm actually filming and editing. I'm gonna make the video super short because there's really not much to do in the attic. I'm almost done, and you saw from yesterday's video that there was only 2 boxes, a table, and a lamp, and a few frames to get out. But I do want to chit chat about a few things. So let's dive in the attic, give you a quick glimpse, and then I'm pulling out the stuff and we're gonna go through it. So nothing much has changed. This is the right side of the attic. This is what I'm keeping for now. I've made the decision when I'm done with my 30 days, which is probably going to turn out to be 40, I will go over everything that I've done and kind of like go over possible questionable decisions regarding a few things that I'm keeping and may not need to keep. So this is what I need to pull out. I told you, it's like one big bin that says baby clothes. Like I don't have enough of those, right? And then this plastic bin here, and then some frame and the stuff. So let me pull this out and then we can chit chat. Right, so yeah, attic is empty except for those little shelves here, and then a few things, you know. There's some light bulbs here. They seem to be everywhere. And then there's some leftover of that cling thing. I had bought 2 rolls. I'm gonna use that on a window that we have in the living room so that the new neighbors can see through, because we'll talk about privacy in a second, but you'll understand why I'm doing this. Anyway, so yeah, I have those 3 boxes. They may or may not stay here. They may or may not remain the way they are in terms of contents. I'm not sure. And then over there it's done. So guess what, guys? I'm done with the attic. That's it. Let's turn off the light. Goodbye. So what did I pull out? Alright, so there's the roll of cling. There's 2 frames that are taped together. Old lamp from Walmart. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. There's this plastic box here. This big bin. And then the old IKEA table. So this is the Nate. This, let me see. I don't think I want to keep anything in there. I have a feeling. Yeah, I kind of know what this is. Oh yeah, this is really, really old. Alright, so this is a one of those IKEA lamp thing that you can put underneath a cabinet with, you know, one of those plugs. I don't know. I don't like the fact that there's a plug that's that long. I don't know. And there's only 2 of them, so there really is no room for me to use them. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I'm going to keep them. And these are the tulip things that belong to an old fixture. And I think this was actually from our apartment before we bought the house. So I tell you what, all of this is going to be in the donate bin. I'm sure somebody at Goodwill will find it useful. And then the table too. So let me put the camera on the tripod and we're going to tackle this big box right here. Alright, and I'm white, by the way. My day at work was by far one of the hardest. I had to deal with somebody who was pretty much psychotic all morning long, and I had to handle her, and she couldn't go to the hospital for various reasons. We don't need to get into that. It was very challenging as a day, and then after that I had to do the regular stuff that I have to do. So I'm really tired, and thank goodness dinner is almost done. So I'm gonna tackle this box. I took a quick peek. There is some clothes in there, but I think the rest is luggage. But while I'm doing this and making quick decisions, because I really am tired of looking at baby clothes, like really. Like this one, for instance. This is a jacket that's still good, but it's too small for all of the kids, so that's going to be donate. Oh, this is gonna go real fast, so let's chit chat. Yesterday when I did the video, I talked about the way we are in Europe, most of Europe. So it was good because it opened up a conversation with a few of you, like Anne and Amelia and a few others, and I'm very glad we got this conversation because a lot of you always tell me, Sophia, we love it when you tell us stories about, you know, the way you grew up, growing up in France and all of that. So I'm going to take the opportunity of having a short video today to let you know. Back in the days, because you know I'm 46, alright, so I'm talking about the 70s and the 80s. I'm not talking about France and Europe today. I'm talking about the way I grew up, alright, and back then we were not globalized, alright, not at all. I mean, it took us, I think to maybe the late 80s to get VCRs, okay? And probably beginning of the 80s or mid 80s to get microwaves. Okay, so we're a little behind over there. Back then we were, I'm sure we're kind of like caught up now. But again, I haven't lived in France in 23 years, so I cannot speak of France as of today, or Europe in general. But I'm going to tell you how I grew up. Because I was talking about not having pictures on the walls and on display, and I was talking about eating late, and a lot of you chimed in and say, yeah, exactly, I totally get it. That's what we do. We don't have pictures on the walls, or if we do, it's like very little, and it's not on walls, it's like on a piece of furniture, but in private areas, like a bedroom or a family room, something like that. And then I was answering Amelia about how we eat late generally in France, because most people would watch the 8 o'clock news. Like here in America, the news are at 5 and 6 p.m. All right, and then you have sitcom, and then you have 10 o'clock news. All right, in France we have 8 p.m. news. There's no news before that. Before that, it's pretty much Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, and then it's the news. When I grew up, and I was born in 1970. What happened was school back then, and I think it's changed since, but school back then was from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. We had full days of school. Nothing like what they have here, where at 2:45 they're out, okay? And then it's sports. Sports was once a week, it was on Friday, okay? It was 1 hour and that was it. So we had school from 8 to 5. And then from 5 to 6 or 5 to 7, depending on your schedule, you had study hall. At 6:30, you would get out of the school, or 7:30, you would get out of the school, and then you would get home. By that time, your parents had already gone home or arrived home, and dinner was being made. So by the time you got home, your homework was done, because you had done your homework at study hall, and there was always a teacher during study hall that would, you know, assist you with your homework. So your parents didn't really have to deal with this, which was great, because none of my parents knew math. Okay, and math is not my thing. So anyway, so you come home, and then dinner was pretty much ready, and you would sit down at the table with the family, and we would watch the 8 p.m. news during dinner time. And one of the reasons why we did that, And it wasn't just me, it was like everybody, okay? That's what you did. You would kind of like open up a conversation at the table about what's going on in the world. And I think that generally speaking, and I'm not saying that in a demeaning or judgmental way, but let's face it, the European kids, generally speaking, are much more versed in terms of geopolitics, European dynamics, countries' history, what's going on in the world in general, economics and things like this. And I think that one of the reasons is because we actually do sit down as a family and we watch the news every night at 8 p.m. And then the following day you'll go to school, and your first half hour of school was pretty much current event, and you would discuss what you learned in the news. So it was really, really interesting. So now I'm strongly encouraging you to check out French news. BBC News are great too, the British one, but French news are absolutely unbelievable. And I'm not saying that because I'm French, okay? This is not like a chauvinistic statement. They just are unbelievable. Like, they do not brush a subject for 30 seconds and then it's 2 minutes of commercial and everything feels like entertainment. Like there's a jingle, you know, like disaster on whatever, you name it. It's not like that at all. What they do is that if there is a main event that happens, the news are 1 hour long to begin with. The first half hour is probably dedicated to that main event. Let's say it's a terrorist attack. And what they would do is that they would have commentaries and interviews from different point of view, and they are like 15 minutes long, and then you have guests who are coming in and speaking. So the news in France are very, very rich in content. They really are, and it's not entertaining. After that you get the sports news, and then maybe you get arts, okay, stuff like that. Here it's just like they open up with Kim Kardashian, okay. Now let's face it, it's real, all right? The news here really, really suck. So that brings me to tell you why we eat late. Like most French people are like that. When I came to the US, I came to New York first, and New Yorkers are kind of like that too. We have happy hour after work, 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then everybody goes out to dinner, makes dinner at home or takes out or whatever. So New Yorkers tend to eat very late. When I moved out of New York and we went to Ohio, I had the hardest time adjusting, you guys. I really did. Because over there, everybody's having dinner at 5. And if you don't have dinner at 5, like, people get edgy. Like, they get agitated. It's like 5 o'clock is dinner. Like, dinner time for me is 8:30, 9 o'clock. And when I was a kid, that's the way it was. And I'm telling you, it wasn't just me. It was like everybody in my school. We all ate late. Now, I'm sure that the new generation of kids, you know, the ones that were born in the 80s and the ones that were born in the 90s, like the millennial, a little bit different. Plus, it got globalized and all of that. But I can tell you, when you go to Paris and you are a tourist in Paris, if you want to meet American people in Paris and if you want to meet other American tourists, just go to a brasserie at 5 p.m. That's where you're going to find them. Because the French, they're at work or they're shopping. They are not eating at 5, okay? 5 o'clock is not dinner, okay? I'm sorry. It's not even supper. It's just snack time. It's tea time. So I had the hardest time adjusting to this. Like, we literally moved back to Ohio for 2.5 years, and we would go to those dinners and it had to be 5 p.m. on the dot. And you go to Bob Evans on, you know, you name it, Rat 11 in Ashtabula, Ohio. If you guys are from that area, you know which one I'm talking about. And it's jam-packed at 5 p.m., okay? It's jam-packed. Everybody's having the Swiss steak, okay? And Scott and I were miserable. And we had the hardest time trying to lose weight when we were there. Because 5 p.m. we're kind of like having dinner with everybody in the family, and then by 9 o'clock, which is usually the time at which we eat, we're starving, famished. So we're having 2 dinners now, okay? So it was tough, all right? So, and again, I'm talking about my experience and my generation in France. Now, some of you who are in England commented and you said, yeah, we eat like around 7 or 8 o'clock. But now I want to talk about the pictures, because that is very interesting. And I'm going to show you a little contrast between America, again, and Europe. And I think I have a theory about that too. Another thing that really, really amazed me, and I had a hard time adjusting, when we moved from New York and we moved to the Midwest, Ohio, is people were having what they call open houses over there. It's kind of like a invitation to a whole bunch of people, and then they can come to your house and they can pretty much tour your house. Like really, they can tour your house. Like the excuse would be, hey, I just bought a new living room set, come and check it out, I'll make a barbecue. And I always had the hardest time adjusting to this, buzzing in, buzzing out, just checking things out, and people just literally like peeking into your bedroom and your bathroom and stuff like that. We don't do that in Europe at all. We're very, very private people. And hence the reason why we have shutters on windows. And when you go to France, for those of you who've been to France, you know what I'm talking about. You know, here we have the fake shutters on the side to give it charm, you know, that colonial charm. Well, in France we have real shutters, and come 6 o'clock when you go home, everybody closes their shutters because we don't want people to peek through our windows. Like, you know, when you're driving here, my sister loves doing that. When she comes to the US, I drive her around at dusk because she loves looking through people's window. Here in the US, you can see somebody's dining room, you can watch people eat in their window, you can watch people watch TV, you can see the lady cleaning the kitchen because all the windows are open, and it's like, you know, hey, this is our lives. And in Europe, you don't do that. You just shut everything, and we are very private. We just don't expose ourselves like that. Hence the reason why mom has a very hard time with my YouTube channel, because this is like the opposite of the way I was raised. It really is. I mean, come on. Who needs to see this crap? Okay. So moving right along. So the pictures themselves are considered very private things, like pictures of your kids, pictures of your wedding, things like this. They're considered very, very private. So they are not positioned in a home in areas where you would have guests. So you won't have that in the living room, you won't have that in the dining room. You're not going to see a gallery of pictures of your kids from age 0 to 21. You're not going to see that at all. If there are pictures, you're going to see that in a bedroom, in a boudoir, in an office, maybe in a family room, and that's it. And you're going to see maybe 2 or 3 frames, that's it. You're not going to see huge pictures, portraits, all right? In particular the weddings, and I made a comment about that, about the French. I can't remember if I said that to Amelia or Anne, I'm not sure, but anyway, I made a comment about the wedding pictures, and that made me think, I'm just rambling, but anyway, I think that this is interesting for you because you always ask me to tell you about France. So the weddings in France, the way I remember them, okay, again, I'm talking about back in the days, and I'm pretty sure it's kind of still the same way, all right? Weddings in France are so subdued compared to the hoopla events that are here. Like, it would be unimaginable for a French couple to spend more than $4,000 on a wedding. Like, we don't do that. Like, I've been to weddings here in New York where people spend over $100,000. You had to see the event, all right? The photographer alone is going to cost you $6,000, and we don't do that at all in France. This is how it goes, okay? You leave your home, the groom meets you there, okay? So everybody's seen everybody already, and then you walk, literally, whether you're in Paris or you're in a village, it doesn't matter. You walk to your city hall. You get married at City Hall first, okay? And you sign the paper. That's it, you're married. Now, if you want to do a ceremony in church, then the whole wedding party, the entire wedding party walks to the church. In the village, it's not that far. In Paris, it's not that far either, because let's face it, there's a church every other block, okay? So you walk there. If it's too far, maybe people will take cars. And then everybody gets in their car and follows the caravan, basically, to whatever reception hall there is. And then maybe it's a sit down, maybe it's a buffet, it depends. But it's usually kind of like under, you know, it's not a over-the-top event, okay? As you're waiting at the reception hall, the bride and the groom and the wedding party, which is really just a witness each. There's no 12 bridesmaid and grooms. We don't do that. Go to the photographer and they have their wedding picture taken. And that's it. These are the wedding pictures. The other pictures that are taken by guests, and most of the guests don't even share the pictures with the groom. They just take them because they were there with the family. So there's the kid with the bride, and maybe they have pictures of them at the table, or you know, things like this. So that's the way it was. You didn't have albums upon albums upon albums, and DVDs and videos, and the Rolls Royce, and the huge cake. Over there, the cakes are little puff cream things with caramel. They usually make a pyramid, and everybody gets one puff. That's the way it was, again, back in the days. All right. So you're not gonna see like a lot of pictures of event on the walls because of the European need for privacy. Usually it is considered kind of tacky, I guess, to have your guest and they're sitting in the living room and they have 30 pictures of everybody in the family, people they don't know, staring at them, and it just makes people uncomfortable. So I don't know, what do you think? If you guys are from Europe, you know what I'm talking about, okay? And some of you commented on that, so you know what I'm talking about, and we all agree. It's kind of different, what you want me to tell you. So it brings me to the picture thing. I really have a hard time with pictures. I have pictures that I used to display, and you're going to see the 2 frames there. I would have pictures on a mantle or on a dresser or maybe on the coffee table. And then after 2 or 3 weeks, I was just like, I can't deal with it. I just can't. It just bothers me because we weren't raised that way. Now, I have a theory as to why it's like that about the pictures. I'm always amazed when I meet American people, and I love pictures, you know that, and I look at the pictures. Everybody here has a lot of old pictures, and I'm talking Victorian times, okay? Tintypes and old pictures in Victorian costumes and pictures from the 1900s and things like this. That is not something that is very common in Europe. Most people in Europe do not have that. Part of the reason is that even though photography was invented in France, it was considered a very luxury thing, and France was ravaged by 2 wars, including another war of independence later on in the 60s with North Africa. Most of what we had in France was destroyed by the wars. And most people who lived in France or Germany or Italy or Spain during World War I and World War II had to be displaced, had to move somewhere else to survive because their house was leveled, or their house was occupied, or they were persecuted. And when you live a life like this and you have 2 generations, World War I and World War II, of people who have to live basically with 1 suitcase and rush to a train station to escape whatever oppression is going on in the country, they usually tend to take the bare minimum and what they're going to need, which is a change of clothes, a pair of shoes, a little bit of money, and grandma's jewelry. That's it. Most people left the pictures behind. Most people did not have the funds to be able to have a lot of portraits taken, a lot of pictures taken. So as a result, I think that it kind of molded the way Europeans think about pictures. We have albums. I'm very attached to pictures. My mom is not. Everybody I know in France is not. We have few albums, a few pictures. Maybe we'll display 1 or 2, but it's not something that is as much of as an industry that it is here in America. And I don't think you realize that. For those of you who are American, how lucky you are to have had a period of time between 1880 through the Industrial Revolution, and then the baby boom era and the roaring 20s, and then again the baby boom era, and then the huge economic boom of the 50s and the 60s, where everything was convenient. All right, I grew up in a country, and in particular in Normandy, where it was basically nothing left. There was nothing left, okay? And most of the towns that I grew up in were rebuilt. Like if you go and visit Rouen, for instance, where I was born, there's only 1 little section that's still the medieval area. Everything else is built in the 50s and 60s because Rouen was leveled. It was like pummeled, carpet bombed during the war. So that brings me to kind of put out a theory as to why Europe in general is not attached to pictures. We've lost as a culture a lot of our roots and a lot of our ancestors' history through many wars. And whatever we had, maybe we have a handkerchief left, maybe we have an apron, a tablecloth, maybe we have an old Bible, but for the most part the pictures are gone. And I think that unconsciously maybe that is why we just don't put pictures galore and in excess all over the house, because that stuff is just through the generation and through time became not that important. And again, there's a matter of privacy. So that was my chit chat. I don't know, it was my 2 cents. Tell me if it's worth its weight in salt. I'm not trying to justify anything, I just thought that was an interesting conversation. And again, you guys said that you like it when I tell you little stories, so that was the little story about how I grew up. Yeah, we ate at 8 o'clock watching the news, and we went to bed late, and nobody died, okay, and we survived, and we did very well in college too. So that's that. Let's go through this. Okay, so I want to go through this nonsense here, and I know already that I'm not going to keep any of this. Okay, these are, wait, maybe I will. I didn't even remember that I kept those. These are jumper dresses, and I was planning on buying a whole bunch of them when I go to France this summer. And guess what? I don't have to, because I kept 2. So that's great. Alright, so I got 2 dresses I need to wash. The only thing I don't care about is a mix of cotton and linen, so you really have to iron them all the time. Alright, what do we have here? A shirt. I don't care about that anymore. Another shirt. Don't care about that. And... oh, this... you wait until you see that. You want to talk about grandma's old handkerchief. Look at this. Did I say this was going to be a short video? Okay. Mom, I'm sorry, I'm going to show this, okay? I'm sorry, I apologize, but I got to show it because we were just talking about Victorian era, okay? This is one of very few belongings I have left from ancestors from ages ago, okay? This, you guys, is a culotte, okay? And a culotte is basically this pear short thing, okay? So I want to show you the embroidery on this. Can you see that? Okay, I hope you can, all right? So I believe that this, with this opening like this, is what a great grandma or great grandma of mine was wearing during childbirth, because back in those days you needed to be modest even when you were screaming bloody murder and giving birth to a child. So in order to stay modest and not show your butt and your legs, okay, you would wear something like this, and it would give the doctor or the midwife access to the area that needed to be accessed, right? But everything else, you see that? Okay, so these are your thigh right here. But everything else was being covered. So this is a childbirth modesty cloth from 2 or 3 ancestors past, okay? I'm keeping it. Okay, what do we have here? There's some dresses here that Mom made for me, and I know that there is absolutely no way I'm fitting in them. I'm not even gonna bother trying them on because they were too tight when she made them, and it's not like I got skinnier, all right? So there we go. There's this one here. I know I won't fit in it, so that goes. That's the mate. Now this one here. Oh, I love this. Okay, this is an evening gown that screams the 80s. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. Hold on. Okay, so it's velvet, and I used to fit in that, you guys. Okay, and it's got this. How about I take that off? Okay, I'm not gonna try it on because I know I don't fit in it. Okay, I would look like a one of the hippopotamus from Fantasia. So anyway, so you wear it like this, right? And it's open like that. And what I did this, by the way. I bought a very cheap velvet gown at an Indian store in New York, and I bought about 60 yards of this ribbon, and all I did was do the little ruffles here with the ribbon all around. And this one had like some white lace. It was really tacky. Okay, it had like white lace all around here. I removed that and I did this instead. And yeah, That's what it looked like in the back, and then you just do a little bow like this behind it. So now you're all gonna tell me, Sophia, why are you keeping this? You know you don't fit in it. Sophia, this is just ridiculous. I'm putting it against my waist right now, and look, there's like an inch here, and then there's another inch there, if not two. Oh my God, I was so skinny. Okay, I'm keeping it just for giggles. Yeah, for giggles. How about that as an excuse? This, you guys, is my wedding dress. Talk about a no big deal wedding, right? We just went to City Hall, that was it. Anyway, so this I'm keeping. This is a, I don't fit in it, I know that, but I'm not going to get rid of my wedding dress. This is Emma James. It was a very, very pretty dress. Really, really liked it. And it's got embroidery in addition to flowers. So that I'm keeping. Come on, that's my wedding dress. Give me a break. Okay, this one, Mom made it. This is like so out of date. Look at this thing. I'm giving it away. This is my graduating gown. When I graduated from college, I have the cap. I think that's enough. So I'm not going to keep that. Plastic thing here. I'm going to keep that. And then everything else I think is luggage. Yep. 1, 2, 3 luggage. That's it. So I tell you what I'm going to do. The other luggage that I found in the attic, I'm just going to put it in there and put the lid over it and the suitcase on top, because that doesn't fit in there, and I will have an entire container's worth of luggage, which is great because now I finally consolidated all the luggage. So when I'm looking for it, I'll just go in there, and that's going back in the attic. So that's it for day 28. And again, the table right here, I'm getting rid of that. And then the lamp over there, I'm getting rid of that. Oh, I said I was going to talk about pictures. Hold on. So this is another attempt of mine at being American. Okay. When we were in Ohio, everybody had pictures everywhere. I felt like an anomaly not having pictures everywhere. So in our apartment in Ohio, after Edward was born and before we came back to New York, I actually did have pictures on the walls. And you can tell when we moved back to New York in 2004 that I pretty much did nothing with those. And I have a vague idea of what's in it. I think it's a large portrait of Scott and I and Edward. And I think it's a collage of pictures from our trip to France. Oh no, both of them are collages from our trip to France. Okay, so there you have it. Let's turn that around. What is that? I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay, so here you go. That's me and Scott and Edward. Napoleon's tomb. Here is Avenue de Montaigne. Here he is with Mom in front of Notre Dame. Here's me and Scott at my house. This is, can't really see. This is Mom and Edward and me and my brother. Actually, that's the last time I saw him before he passed away. Here's Mom and Edward and me and Edward. This was at Montmartre. And then over here, this is Scott and Edward at a farm we stayed at. It was like a bed and breakfast. It was very nice. This is Les Andelys in France, in Normandy. That's near where I live. Here's Edward at the house. And here's Edward at my house. And here's Scott and Edward at the Mont Saint-Michel. And Mom and Scott at a terrace in Paris. And look what they're drinking. Perrier Monte. Yep. Here's me and Edward on the beaches. This is Omaha Beach, the landing beaches. And this one was taken at the American Cemetery. So here's Scott and Edward. So I don't know what to do with these pictures because I really have a hard time displaying pictures. But I did like having that memorabilia thing. So maybe I can find a place in the house where I don't feel too uncomfortable having them on the wall, because they are large, and that was the reason why I took them down and never put them back up, because it's just not my style. I don't know what to say. What do? You tell me down below. What should I do with these? So I am done with day 28 and I am done with the attic, and it was actually not so bad. So what am I keeping? I'm keeping this big bin here to keep all of the luggage. I'm keeping those 2 frames, which I may or may not disassemble. I don't know. Again, comment down below. What should I do? I'm keeping my wedding dress, and I'm keeping this gown thing again for giggles. I might as well, I don't know, it's stupid because I really can't fit in it, but anyway. And then I'm keeping a great grandma's culotte, okay, and those 2 dresses here because I'm definitely going to take that and wear them in Paris, and those are fit because I bought them super large with the intention of wearing t-shirts underneath. Let me see. Yeah, they're extra large, so I fit in that. Good. All of this is go. This here is go, this is go, and this is go. I'm not going to keep the lamp, and this is go as well. So you guys, day 28 is over, the attic is over. Very happy with the work I've done. I have 2 more days technically, but you know I've said that I was going to do extra. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to spend the time editing, and I'm going to post my Ipsy Glam Bag video because that's what I do every month, okay? And there was some good stuff in there. So that's that. And you'll see I'm wearing Grandma's hat, actually. I filmed that Sunday, so it's been on the computer for a while. I need to edit it before the end of the month. And then Saturday I will film again, and I'll film day 29, so that will be a day late. And I'll film day 30. And probably start the extra days on Sunday and edit those during the week, next week. So that will be the first week of May. I don't think I'm going to post videos every night. And it's only because I'd like to have my life back. No, I mean, I kid you not, it's a lot of work, okay? I don't think most people realize that vlogging and posting every night takes a lot of time and consumes you. Like the video taking, okay, so let's say it takes 45 minutes to an hour to videotape, right? It's gonna take you about an hour, if not more, to edit. Then you have to encode. So when it's encoding, you can actually go about your business. Once it's encoded, then you have to upload to YouTube, and that takes another 40 minutes depending on the length of the video. And then once that's done, you have to do all the links. You know, at the end, the little end card where you can click on stuff and it takes you somewhere else, where all of those are inserted individually, you guys. I mean, like, really, it takes a good 15 to 20 minutes to do that because you got to get the link, you got to insert the link, you got to take the time. It's a process. So if you're thinking about doing a vlog and if you're thinking about doing YouTube, I'm telling you right now, it's going to consume a lot of your time. So yeah, but I choose to do it because I really, really love doing it. So next week, I'm not posting every day. That's all I wanted to say because Mama needs a break and I have a book to read. Yeah, I do. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. It better be awesome. Otherwise, I'd be very, very upset. Come on, I've been waiting for this book for almost 3 years now, okay? Anyway, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Give me a thumbs up if you like my little chit chat. Let me know down below if you want me to continue telling you stories about how I grew up and how things are in Europe and or where, because again, back in the days, all right? I haven't lived there in a long time, but I think that culturally, there's a lot of things that have not changed. But I don't know, I may be mistaken. So you tell me down below what you thought of it and if you want me to tell you more. And then I guess I will see you for day 29, which will be posted on Saturday. Okay? Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye!